Hi guys, it's Mrs. C here with Cycle 1, Week 7. I'm sorry this is getting uploaded late. We actually were not able to go to community yesterday because we had a stomach bug go through our house. Super fun. But thankfully, everyone's doing good, feeling a lot better. We're all eating normal foods now. So I didn't actually get to do anything that I planned, but I will tell you guys what I planned to do. So hopefully it will be of some benefit to you. So for geography, again, with having the older kids, I'm not doing anything too fancy, but I have, since we had a few larger locations, I did have these that I had bought to use the littles, and I thought the big ones would like them too, as we're in the month of October. They're little like monster fingers. So I was gonna bring these in to let them have some fun pointing to our different locations. When I present the geography, I usually try to do it in the most logical way, so moving from one location to the next closest location. So for this week, Hispania, Gaul, Germania, then dropping down to Alexandria, or dropping down to Carthage, and then over to Alexandria, excuse me. So it's slightly different from in the guide. If this is your first time doing masters, for memory masters, they don't need to know them in it like the order that is specific in the guide. They just need to be able to locate them. So you can present them in any order you want to. So that's what I was planning on doing, just going over those a few times with the fun little fingers. I also, with the older kids, have been, while we have our maps out, going ahead and reviewing all the previous weeks. If you are like me and we've learned so many locations, you're starting to forget them. If you look on page 70 of your guide, this is the proof sheet. So it has each week and all of them in a nice little list. So you can go back through. I just kind of marked it with a little sticky note so I could flip over there and just work back through and review all of the past several weeks so that we can get our review in while we have our maps out. So that's what I was going to do for geography. For math, up on my board, I had written out all of our 13s, which is so nice when we get down to just one times table, especially with these older ones having to say the full times table. And I had just randomly, I had written like 13 times 5, and instead of writing 65, I'd written 63. So I had written some of them up there wrong, and what I was going to do is have them go through and figure out which ones I had done wrong, and we would correct them, and then we would go through and say them again, and have them write them out. So that's what I was going to do for math. For prepositions, again, all of my kids are really wanting to learn the entire preposition song. Most of them have it down at this point. So we are just singing that through every week. I printed these out. If you haven't seen me use these before, this is again another one of the proof sheets that you can find in your guide. It's on page 64. So I just copied these and put them in sheet protectors. So this week I was going to give each of them a chance on their own to say/read, if they didn't know all of them, to go around and say them on their own. So kind of test each individual on how far they can get, or which ones they need to work on, or if there's like a section that they get tripped up on. So give each one of them a chance. I have 8 kids in my class normally, so it goes pretty fast though, with the prepositions, but I was going to give them a chance to do that. I do emphasize each week the actual ones we are learning in that week, and we talk about which one was before that and after it in the list, but I don't really do anything special. If you are doing hand motions in, you're going to kind of bring your hand up and your fingers in, and then in is 1 finger, inside is 2 fingers, I believe. In 2, you're going to take like step forward, like you're jumping into something. Like is like this, and this is the sign language sign for the same or like things. So like, I thought originally it was supposed to be, because the way they say it is like, and like, I thought it was kind of being like surfer, like, yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought originally, but it's actually like this, which is the same. I have a little puppy trying to come in here. And then near, you're going to take one hand and bring it closer to the other hand for near, if you want to do hand motions. So she can come here. Yeah, can you come say hi? Hi. Say hi. 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 All right, go play. for our science, I wrote out on the board, and science is pretty easy this week. So you have a live birth, rocking a baby, eggs, carry very carefully, fragmentation, which is where they split apart, and then budding, which is where they grow another part on it. So I was just really curious because I was like, what animals do have fragmentation and what animals do budding? And so I started looking it up, and it is a bunch of the invertebrates that we learned a few weeks ago. So I actually took the time on my board to write out some of the different ones that do fragmentation and budding. And then I also went through and wrote out like all mammals except for platypi, I don't know how you say that, give live birth. All birds lay eggs, and then some amphibians, reptiles, and fish give live birth, like a few of them. Most of them lay eggs, but there are a few that give live birth. Just kind of wrote those out for the kids. Fragmentation, the most famous one that I think people know are sea stars. You can chop a piece off of them and it will regenerate. There are some different worms, I think sponges, coral is the famous one for budding. It grows an extra part and then it becomes its own piece. So you can kind of look those up on the internet because I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I just wanted to kind of tie that in. And I know, again, we're not supposed to spend a ton of time teaching extra material, but with having the masters, sometimes you have extra time. So it was up on my board if we needed to use it. If not, we would just spend our time on the memory work. So for Latin, we have a new declension this week. So when we have a new declension, I tend to spend a little more time. And I have these, gotta find them. I have these little dry erase cards that I had the endings written on, and we're just gonna lay them out in order and point to them as we said them. If we needed to get a little energy out, I would have let them do hot potato. I kind of keep a random assortment of stuff in my bag in case I need to change it up. But that was my plan, was just to kind of lay it out and say each part. And again, with the olders, I am emphasizing the correct way to say each of the endings. So we have ace, ibis, ace, ibis, and various ease, EMA. So just really enunciating those. For timeline, I was going to play my bomb game again. The bomb game, basically I have all the timeline cards. I've randomly selected 3 and put a sticker on the back. I lay them out. We say them through. They pick one. So if they were to say this week, pick persecution spreads the gospel, we would say Jesus the Messiah, Pentecost in the early church, persecution spreads the gospel. Then I would turn it over and we would see if there's a sticker. A sticker indicates that it's a bomb. And their goal is to try to pick all the ones that don't have bombs without blowing themselves up. So we just go through the timeline playing that, and they each take a turn picking a card. Let's see. Is that everything? Oh, history. So for history this week, I did also grab the timeline cards that go along with it. I forget this all the time, but if you are like me and didn't realize, in your guide, right up here in the corners for science and for history, if there's a card that this goes along with, it will tell you the number of the card because they are nice like that. So science had number 10. If you have the life science cards, they're there. And then history has 15 and 28, which is Hinduism in India and Lao Tzu, Confucius, and Buddha. So I did bring those kind of cards because, again, just trying to help them place this in the timeline. And it talks about Hinduism is in 1500 BC. And Buddhism starts later, so it's later in the timeline. So for Hinduism, we're just going to do some hand motions. We have an H, developed around 1500 BC, and is known for karma. We're going to make a K. Reincarnation, which is you go like this. We do this in the timeline. It's like your spirit leaving your body. And the caste system, so we're going to put hands over hands like this to kind of show the different levels they believed people were at. And then in the 6, we're going to hold them close, so it's 6th century. Buddhism, just like in the timeline, you kind of grab your round belly, and it teaches, I'm going to say no to self-denial. You can't have that as a path to enlightenment. You can kind of go, yeah, this is what we did. This is philosophy. So enlightenment. So just like when we have the Great Dark Ages and then the Age of Enlightenment. So just like we do that in the timeline. So we're going to just open our eyes. Oh, our eyes have been opened. So Anyway, that's all for history, and that's all for this week. I'm sorry that I don't have, I feel like when I don't do it, I can't be as helpful to you guys, but hopefully that will give you some ideas. I am going to be on vacation next week, but I will be doing a video. I'll probably have that uploaded tomorrow so my sub can look at that, and that way I don't have to try and do it on vacation. But I hope you guys have been well, and I will see you tomorrow-ish, hopefully, but if not, sometime next week for week 8. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.